Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over the 4 Sigma laws. Now these laws are very important because they're the most basic things you can do in your chess game, especially if you're trying to win your chess game. Okay, so whenever you're going over your games, try to use these laws as much as possible. The first one we're going to be going over is, well, control the center. That's a very basic one, and here we're going to see with pawn to e4, pawn to e5, both people have started to try and control the center. Now, what are the center? Well, it's these 4 squares right here, e4, e5, d4, and d5. You're going to be using your pawns and your pieces. And the next one we're going to be going over is develop your pieces. Now, what are your pieces? Now, I'm very biased when it comes to your pieces. What are those? Your knights and bishops. Try to get these guys out as soon as possible. A lot of beginners will make the mistake of trying to bring out the rooks too early and also making too many pawn moves in the opening. Try to bring out your pieces. By the way, while we're going through these laws or these Sigma ideas, we're going to be going over a game which is Napoleon Monarch versus Paul Morphy. So here we go. Develop your pieces. Here you'll see that, well, White's going to make a mistake and move the same piece twice in the opening. Knight f3 attacks the pawn. Knight c6 defends the pawn. Notice how we're developing our pieces, and we're trying to develop with the threat if possible. Bishop c4, bishop c5. Already White is ready to castle, and here White plays the opening, which is known as the Evans Gambit. So White plays pawn b4, and by all means this is not a bad move to play because White is still trying to develop the pieces and trying to control the center, which as we know is one of the first things we should try to do. Bishop takes on b4, pawn to c3, bishop back to a5, and then, well, here d4 gets played. This is actually a very good move here. E takes on d4, and this is where White makes the mistake. Here, what is White's best move? That goes on to our third Sigma law, which is to go ahead and castle, get your king to safety. Typically, king castling is the best, okay? e5 was played. Don't make too many pawn moves in the opening. Already, Black can take advantage of the situation and plays pawn to d5. Notice how he does not waste any time at all. He controls the center and makes a threat. I can already hear some of you guys saying, wait a second, can't we do en passant? Yes, you can. In fact, this is probably the best move here for White. Unfortunately, after pawn takes, how do you take back? Remember your second rule, develop your pieces. Queen takes on d6. Now Black is already better with 1, 2, 3 pieces out. And well, White over here only has the 2. Here White was wise enough to go ahead and castle, and Black just keeps on with his development. He even does some good ideas by thinking ahead or prophylactic thinking and understanding what his opponent wants. I hear someone asking, what's prophylactic thinking? Simple idea. It's knowing what your opponent wants to do. In this case, White wants to play rook to e1 check, so let's stop him. But keep up with our Sigma laws, develop your pieces. Here we're going to play knight g2 e7, so the rook does not come in with a check. All right, here we go. Knight g5, do not move the same piece twice. Here White goes ahead and makes a threat. Knight is threatening on f7 with the bishop. Continue with our Sigma laws. Black is 1 move behind, but we know what we're going to do here. King safety, we're going to go ahead and castle. Okay, here we go. Bishop to d3. Again, White is not even out of the opening, and they keep moving the same piece over and over again. Bishop d3, attacking on h7. Now, here a lot of people saying, I could play h6, I could play g6. Remember the second Sigma rule, develop your pieces. Here we get the beautiful move, bishop f5. Look at Morphy's pieces. All of them are developed now, and the back row is empty. Look at all these pieces, the sleeping pieces. You do not want these in your chess game. Here White went ahead and played bishop takes, knight takes, and here bishop to a3 with the nice skewer. Here the bishop is attacking the queen and the rook behind it. Believe it or not, this is not bad at all. Why? You're so ahead in development here, you're not really losing material because look, these guys are both asleep. And here we go on to our fourth Sigma law, which is, what do? Make a plan. Now that you have all your pieces developed, just like Morphy does, we have to make a plan. And there's 3 standard plans here. You can go queen side, center, or king side. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're going queen side, there's really nothing to attack over here other than the pieces. So with the queen side attack, typically you're trying to win material such as knight, bishop, or even pawns. What's the center? Well, if you can control the center with your pieces, pawns, and the knights and bishops, well then you can actually pivot either to the queen side attack or the king side attack, which goes into our last plan, which is king side. What do you do on the king side? Hopefully you know this one. We're going to go for the king. If you get the king, you win the game. Okay, after bishop a3, here it's not hard to tell what Paul Morphy's going to do. He's going to go for a king side attack. So he goes queen to g6 over here. Okay, bishop takes on f8, queen takes on g5. A very nice move here. Now the bishop needs to move away, and one of the best things about taking this knight over here was, well, we're going to go ahead and take away the main defender for the king. Here, black is already up -5, basically up an extra rook here. The bishop must save itself, so it ran backwards. And here, well, let's keep it going. Here, another prophylactic idea by Morphy. Here he's going to go ahead and say, what would I play here if I was white? Well, here if I was white, I'd try to get my knight out because I need to get my rook out. Remember, develop your pieces. That's your second Sigma law. And well, unfortunately for white, they didn't do this, and so now Morphy could take advantage of it. Here, the only square for the knight to move to was d2. What do you play here? Simple chess. Let's go ahead and win a pawn and stop the knight from coming out. Bishop f4 was played to attack the queen. Queen back to g6. Here, Morphy's definitely eyeing this g2 square, especially with the knight over here. So white went ahead and played bishop f4. Now knight h4 would be a waste of time, as the bishop just goes to g3. Okay, so what do? Go to your second Sigma rule. Look, I already developed these 4, but I have one more piece to develop. What's that one? That is the rook. Let's get it out. Here we go. Rook to d8. Develop with a threat attacking the queen. Here the queen runs over to c2. And now, well, make a plan and follow through with it. Morphy said I'm going to go kingside attack, so he's going to start bringing over all his pieces to the king side. Free tempo off the queen. Here he went ahead and played knight c to d4. Queen to e4. And now it is game over with a beautiful sacrificing idea of checkmate. And here we learn the rule, double attacks are very strong in chess. I won't ask you to find this one unless you want to. You know what? Go ahead and see if you can find it. Push pause. Find the move here that wins the game and makes white resign. All right, hopefully you push pause and tried to figure it out. Here, if you didn't find it, that's okay. If you did find it, congratulations. You are a very strong chess player. Knight to g3, and it is game over. No explanation. No, I'm just kidding. Here, how does knight g3 work? Well, first off, we mentioned a double attack. Here, the queen is unprotected. So what happens? Well, if you go ahead and play queen takes queen, you just fell for checkmate in one move. Do you see it? Here, these beautiful knights do a great job. You have an intersimul or in-between move. We're not going to take the queen back. Here we have knight to d to e2, checkmate. And notice the king is being attacked by the knight, and the king cannot go to h1 as the knight covers the other square. Notice there's just no good way to stop this because the double attack. The knight's threatening checkmate, and also your queen is hanging. Of course, any way you take the knight, you're going to lose your queen. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. Remember, follow the 4 Sigma rules. Control the center, develop your pieces, king safety, and then make a plan. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next video.